Hey guys, Lucas Green here of Adam Fern's Archives, and it's time to continue on with the Scooby-Doo Season 2 rankings. We are now on Monsters, so brace yourselves and we'll get started. Starting off with number 14 on my Monsters is the Vampire. I just think it's generic, and there isn't, like Adam said in one of his videos, there really isn't much to this creature at all. It's just generic vampire material. There's nothing really special about it apart from the reveal of what's going on with the vampire, which kind of sort of relates to how vampires work. But apart from that, it really is just there's really nothing special about it. It's just a standard issue vampire, really. It feels like a classic era Scooby-Doo episode when it does a modern day one. The only thing that does make it feel like a modern Scooby-Doo episode is the Hex Girls. But apart from that, as a monster, there really isn't nothing to it that stands out. Number 13 is Wakumi Bird, which is that bird in Mexico. I'm not really a fan of this creature because of not much experience with it. I've only seen the episode a few times, and when I do see it, it's like I prefer more humanoid creatures compared to giant overarching beasts. Well, there is one exception to that as of now, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, Wakumi, I'll take it over the vampire any day because its size would show you to be more scared of it. Number 12 is the Centaur. It's faster, and I would say it's very persistent as a monster, so with that knowledge, it does seem more of a threat pursuing you. So on a monster level, I'll put that above Wakumi. Number 11, now I was going to put Jeeves the robot on here, but Jeeves is just a tool when the actual monster is also the actual culprit, if that makes any sense. So number 11 is Sherry, and Sherry is the name of the house, the AI thing. So the real monster is the culprit itself, really, because everyone says, "Oh, Jeeves is the monster," but not really. Jeeves is just another robotic tool the house's AI uses to manipulate. So realistically, the monster is the house itself, which goes into the culprit's AI. So basically, the monster and the culprit are the same thing, basically. And as for that, I would say it deserves its spot on where to put it because it's unique, it's creative, it's something you've never seen before, and it's something that makes sense in human society. That AI gets the more and more we mess with AI, the more it's smarter it's going to get. Eventually, it's going to rebel, and yeah, that kind of thing. So it does make it intimidating and scary, in my opinion. And number 10 is the Scooby Snack Monster. Again, creativity on the design. I wasn't expecting something like this, but again, for this kind of monster, the fact that you have a monster that Scooby and Shaggy kind of eat, it just that kind of makes them cannibals, but I don't know, it just has that off-putting vibe to me. That's why I put it a bit lower than I do, but I do still like the concept of the creativity of the Scooby Snack Monster. It is a nice idea for creativity. Number 9 is El Gusano Grande, the giant worm. Again, this might go back to my love for the Tremors movies. If you haven't seen those, I recommend the first two. But yeah, it's got a nice foil with a giant worm going through the ground, wrecking up cars for some destruction there. And you don't really see the Scooby Gang facing off against a giant worm. So again, a unique concept, puts it up at this spot for me. At number 8 is the Fish Fiend. Now, the one saving grace of that episode was the monster itself, because it does have this squint in its eyes and this creepy teeth. And whenever it grabs somebody, it feels very intimidating with how there are certain shots that they use in the What's New Scooby-Doo. There are certain monsters where they do specific shots to try and push it a little bit, where they grab, well, for example, the Fish Fiend, he grabs certain victims and pulls them away, and then the squint in his eyes, he does have that fear. He does have that fear of grabbing, so that does make him a bit more lethal, and that boosts him up a bit. Number 7 is the 30-foot Shaggy, and the reason why he's this high is because he's probably, I want to say, the most destructive monster out of the bunch. Because there's no question about it. The size of this robot, it's a robot, big surprise. The size of the 30-foot Shaggy, he's definitely going to cause some destruction across Japan or wherever it was in that area. And I don't care what anyone says. People probably did die from that. So based on that, I would and if you for people like yeah. For people who don't like Shaggy, like you're gonna see a lot of him crushing the city. So, number 6 is the cat creature. I do like I do like these type of cat-like creatures because they're very fast and pouncy and agile, which makes for a hard opponent to deal with. And again, a nice foil with like a cat monster in a dog show going after her. So it's at night. The symbolism is very cool. I do like that. At number 5, we have Pharaoh Scamsies. I think he's a very interesting enemy. Going on from his creepy design, where I've already gone over this in episodes, but where he's gazing on the pyramid, or he's ripping off the headgear, and the fact that he can hypnotize some of his victims to be his slaves, which goes along with what the culprit does, but I'll get to that later. But yeah, Pharaoh Scamsies is very intelligent and intimidating for what he is able. How he's able, he really does feel that mummy vibe to him, because most mummies, especially in the old era, it didn't feel like a mummy. Just because you wrap someone in bandages doesn't make them, I mean, add some more to it, just the mummy in bandages, but this one does. It gives it a creepy walk, it makes it have slaves, it reveals itself more, which sounds disgusting. But I really, it does give a creepy vibe to Pharaoh Scamsies, and I do like that. And hey, that episode brings back Melbourne and Ryan. What's not to love there? Number 4 is the robot scarecrows. Very fun monsters, I would say. The weakest part about them though is the fact they don't get much to do, because that episode is more related on the Halloween and the culprit than the monster itself, which is a shame. And I do put up the robot scarecrows than the ghost hologram thing, because that wasn't in very much. And of course, the robot scarecrows are more intimidating. When they're first revealed, that is just one of those. It's another one of those shots where they do with a monster something a bit. They take a little bit of an edge forward, like with the Fran Psycho and others. For this one, they have the robot farmers drop down on the pole, and you see this camera rotate and the reveal, very creepily done, and I do like that. Both the demon farmer and the robot scarecrows are something I could see in a horror film of the classic era, or something that could be done nowadays. Same with there are some creatures on these What's New Scooby episodes that I could see being live action monsters. I could really see that. But yeah, moving on to number 3, and again, number 3, the final 3 are all pretty obvious. Number 3 is Glassy. Again, that love for Pharaoh, it always held strong. She has a theme song, which you saw last video if you saw the episode ranking. She has this presence about her that she can go around burning things up just to protect the treasure. And the fact that I may go more detail with culprits, but she's very persistent on protecting the treasure and all that. And throughout the story or the episode, she's constantly going into conflicts throughout the mystery gang, and you wonder why. And it is because like the legend goes, she's going after treasure, but she's going for the gang, and probably because they see her as probably because she sees them as a threat. So it is interesting. There are a lot of interesting things about her that you learn throughout the episode. And another good fact is the design is I think I would prefer this design compared to Pharaoh's. I mean, I do love the Fire Dragon on Beast Quest, but I think this is a bit better because you have like the front limbs also can become wings, so that's a built-in feature. I do like that. And that it's also Glassy is very has that typical dragon weakness of going for the damsel, so it's very an interesting opponent to face. And so when I said there was one big creature that I was going to praise more, that is Glassy. It seems throughout the series of Scooby-Doo that each one had a big monster type beast. Season 1 had the Gigantosaurus. Season 2 was Glassy. Season 3, I believe, is the Chinese dragon. Correct me if I'm wrong, but each season had like a reptile giant creature thing. So that's the formula there. And of course, number 2 is the Fran Psycho. No surprise there. As a monster, it's got a backstory of its legend of the I think his name was Clint something. But yeah, this Clint guy tried to break out of jail. Shark managed to eat him, leaving his hand behind in the bay. And his ghost is revived to come around to get rid of the grind games. So that's interesting there. And as we progress through the episode, we learn more about what's going on with the monster. And again, I've revealed the clip in the episode thing, but they do another good job where he smashes the glass, reveals himself, and again, this is the type of monster I could see doing. A monster I could see happening with a modern day era. We got all the seaweed, he's bald, kind of like a zombie type thing. So my dad would probably like this type of monster. And it is an interesting concept of him going for all these grind game competitors of the sport event. So overall, no question about it. You can understand why the Fran Psycho was all the way up here as a monster level. Cool, vicious, and non-stop. There are even moments throughout this that are pretty terrifying, where I think he's on the boat chase and he's like got this stare and he's holding like I think dynamite in his hand or something, but he's got that stare face going on. Or there's a scene where the character Julian disappears and you see Fran Psycho drive off with the boat, and that's another creepy shot too. So he's very you never know when he's gonna strike. There's another villain literally next I'll get to that has that, but Fran Psycho is very jumpy like a shark, which is funny because that's how the legend goes with his who the character was. But yes, number 1 is the Invisible Madman. No surprise there. And of course, this is obviously no question. Now, I've already said this in my previous video that I've got my own thing when it comes to these type of invisible monster thing. It was like the one monster I was scared of because, I was bumping in and I went, oh no, my sister's watching a monster movie, I'm gonna get out of here. That was an interesting experience. But yeah, aside from that, you never know when this type of creature will show up. Because if it's an invisible monster, it's basically a human being invisible. And that doesn't sound really threatening, but it's very stalker heavy, really, if you think about it. Because you don't know where it is unless you hear it. Because there's only so many ways you can really reveal itself by giving away. Like hearing or throwing paint or something on it. So you have to be more aware with your senses to figure this thing out. But it is pretty creepy because you could get a lot of potential of that type of power there. So you could understand why you're really not safe from the Invisible Madman at all. So overall, there's my ranking for the monsters. Hopefully you guys did enjoy how it came out. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, that good stuff. Hit the notification bell, right corner down below so you can stay in tune with the Adam Ferns archive channel and various amounts of other content that he and I do. Up next, of course, is the 2 remaining rankings, which are culprits and then the chase sequences. So stay in tune for those, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.